Oh, hey, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing, rating, and giving facts on Predator 2. Predator 2 came out in 1990, 3 years after the first one, starring Danny Glover and Gary Busey as the notable actors. Everyone else has, been in TV, but nothing really big, at least that I know really. But this is another one of my favorite movies, but this one got like a lot of hassle because it didn't have the mystery of the first one, but then again, of course it doesn't. The mystery was in the first one. I mean, they complain that they show the Predator too much, but why keep something a mystery again when you already know what the creature is? No one bitched about aliens. In Alien, the creature had almost no screen time, and it was like a big mystery and everything. And then in Aliens, they're all over the friggin' place. So, but no one bitched about that? I mean, I don't know. People just bitched about this so much. Even though a lot of production value went into it, and they had a lot more time to film the movie. And actually, the movie was supposed to be filmed in New York, but they changed it to Los Angeles because at that time, LA and crime was pretty bad. So they thought it would fit the whole story better. So that's why they chose LA instead. And the movie is heavily based on the comic Predator Concrete Jungle. They take a few scenes out of there. I'll mention that throughout the review. But yeah, this is a good movie. The plot is pretty good. And I'm just excited about it. So let's go on for the ride. Predator 2 takes place in Los Angeles in 1997. Detectives Harrigan, Arculeta, and Cantrell find themselves in the middle of a gang war. As Harrigan charges the front line, he does not realize that he is being watched and studied. Harrigan catches the gang members by surprise and makes quick work of them. After this impressive feat, the Predator has decided to choose him as his ultimate prize. So you're probably wondering why this movie was made in 1990, but yet they chose to make it take place in 1997. Well, they wanted to stay true to some of the fandom that's been written, or the comics and the books that had been written since the first movie came out. So in one of the books and some of the comics, the Predator shows up once every 10 years, or a Predator shows up once every 10 years. Well, they just make a visit, whatever. But yeah, so that's why they chose 10 years later. And they just wanted to please the fan base, and nobody really would have thought oh gee, why did they make a sequel taking place 10 years later? But that's just a little fact for that. As the Colombians prepare to be assaulted by the police, they have another unexpected visitor. Harrigan notices the explosion and heads up to the roof to chase El Scorpio. Taken in fear, El Scorpio fires wildly at the Predator. Harrigan shoots El Scorpio off the roof. Being felt like he's being watched, he turns around with his gun. He does not know what he sees, thinking that it might be a heat wave, or that he's just seeing shit. So, little fact, this is exactly, right here, is where the film goes downhill for some people. Because I told you about that whole mystery factor. It's been what? I think it's maybe 10 minutes into the film, if that, and they already see the Predator? Or the main character sees him, even though he doesn't know he's seeing him. A lot of people had a problem with that. They're like, oh wow, they're showing the Predator already? Once again, I don't give a fuck, because I want to see the Predator. I want to see more of that shit. I want to see him tear people up. But no, people are like, oh, the mystery, it's not true to the original. Who gives a fuck? Have they read the comics? Have they read the books? And a lot of those things, they are mystery whatsoever. They go and tear shit up. But that's a little reason why this film isn't considered that good. After dealing with El Scorpio on the roof, the detectives go to where the remaining Colombians were being held. They cannot explain what is going on. Detective Cantrell suggests that it might be the Colombians, but Detective Harrigan does not believe so. Upon returning to the precinct, Harrigan finds Detective Jerry Lambert, who's eager to make a name for himself. He explains to him to survive out here, they need to work as a team. So Jerry is played by Bill Paxton, who I just totally forgot is actually a big name in this movie. Forgot to mention him in the beginning. But he and Lance Henriksen are the only actors to be with the big three, or the biggest three sci-fi characters of all time. That's Alien, Predator, and Terminator. I bet you didn't know that. Later that night, Harrigan and his team respond to a call of a disturbance in a crime lord's apartment. Upon investigating, they cannot make heads or tails of the situation. They find one survivor, but what she explains what happens doesn't make any sense to them. Their investigation is interrupted by Special Agent Keyes and his team, who tells them if they keep digging around, they will make them disappear. So another fact. So Special Agent Keyes is played by Gary Busey, but in the original script, there was no Special Agent Keyes. They wanted Dutch, or Arnold Schwarzenegger's Dutch, to reprise his role to be the leader of that outfit, to be leading the investigation team of OWLF. So, but when they brought the script to Schwarzenegger, he's like, this is dumb. He says, I don't want to do this. Also, he hated the director. He thought the director was dumb. So because the director was dumb and because he thought the Predator should be kept in the jungle and not come to the city. And then after that, they decided to give another pitch. Like, okay, fine, don't be this guy, but at least reprise your role as Dutch in a little sequence. But he still wanted nothing to do with the sequel because he thought it was going to be a complete failure. Which wasn't a complete failure, but it was not as big as the original. Without waiting for Harrigan, Danny enters the apartment to search for more clues. Upon finding a tip of a spear, or what looks like one, he is startled by what sounds like the voice of his friend. Out of fear, Danny lets go of the Predator's arm. He pulls out his weapon in defense. Now that he is armed, the Predator pulls him up and finishes him. Okay, so this is another reason why people were like, bleh, about this film. So in the first Predator, the Predator did not toy with his victims. He would stalk them and then kill them. In this one, the Predator uses Harrigan's voice, scares Danny, and while he's falling, he reaches his arms out and lets him grab on. If he wanted him dead, why didn't he just let him fall? Well, one, because if he just got the kill from him falling, that would have not been an honorable kill. Secondly, he stopped him from falling, or when he did fall and he caught him, he didn't want him to die, or he didn't kill him right away because he was no threat. He had not seen Danny shoot anybody or be a formidable foe. That was until he pulled his weapon on him, and that's when he pulls him up and ends him. So if you ever thought why that played out the way it did, that's what the director explained. Out of options, Harrigan seeks out King Willie, thinking he may have information about the situation. He tells him it can't be stopped, and there's no hope, and that it's time to go. After Harrigan leaves, King Willie is visited by the Predator. As the Predator stalks and squares up with the so-called King of Los Angeles, King Willie draws his sword. Another fact. Okay, does this look familiar? Okay, in the first one, Billy pulled out his machete and got ready to fight the Predator, right? We didn't see nothing. The same thing. He pulls out his sword. You don't see nothing. People didn't like that. They're like, wow, what a fucking cookie-cutter copy. But in the original script, which I think would have been so much better, King Willie didn't have a sword. King Willie had a freaking submachine gun, an Uzi. So when the Predator landed and started walking towards him, he took out the submachine gun and started laying down fire. Of course, the Predator didn't die, and I'm pretty sure he didn't get hit. But when he runs out of bullets, he just stands there in fear. The Predator walks up to him and says the last two words that King Willie said to Harrigan before he left. He said, "Prepare yourself. Time to go." And then he kills him. That would have been so much better. I don't know why they didn't use that. There's no explanation, but it is in the novelization of the movie. So, yeah, but they should have used that. It would have been so much cooler. What do you think? Harrigan makes time to visit Danny's grave. A child nearby comes across the Predator. He does not know what he sees. As Harrigan leaves Danny's grave, he comes across Danny's necklace. Knowing that he's being watched, he is now afraid. So in this scene, I've always wondered, and everyone's always wondered, and it's never been confirmed, why does the Predator leave Harrigan Danny's necklace? Like, why does he take it? Why does he even take the necklace to begin with? But why does he leave it for him? People think that, especially after meeting the child, that he feels remorse for Harrigan and respects him, so he gives him his friend's necklace. Another thing is that they say that he's taunting him, leaving that there, and obviously leaving and Harrigan not knowing that the killer was there. But I don't know which one it is. I think it's that he respected his adversary, and that he might, because he's a humanoid, the Predator's a humanoid, so maybe he respects him and wanted to give him a gift. I don't know. That's what I think. I don't think it was to taunt him, really, because why would a hunter, a hunting species taunt its prey? I don't think it would. But what do you think?
Jerry and Leona take the subway to meet up with Harrigan. They witness a crime and they try to stop it, until they are interrupted by an unexpected visitor. Once Jerry finally identifies the killer, he goes at him with everything he has. Out of ammo and out of options, he grabs the nearest weapon and makes one last effort to lay down the killer.
So 2 facts. In the original script, Jerry and Leona weren't even in this situation. They took this entire sequence from one of the comics, Predator Concrete Jungle. They just thought it was such a cool idea, and they literally just took the whole concept of the Predator attacking the train, killing everybody inside, blah, 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 and put it in the movie, which the scene is pretty freaking cool. Second fact, earlier I mentioned that Bill Paxton and Lance Henriksen are the only ones to be at the big 3, the Terminator, the Alien, or Alien and Predator. They are also the only ones to be killed by all 3. They're both killed in Terminator 1, they're both killed in Aliens, and obviously Lance Henriksen was killed in AVP, and Bill Paxton is killed here in Predator 2. But that's a good fucking career achievement. Rest in peace, Bill Paxton.
After both the train and the shooting had stopped, Leona turns back to find Jerry. Terrified to see that Jerry and the remaining crew had been hung up, she turns to run away, but the Predator stops her.
So if you've seen my other videos, I've talked about the Predator's honor code. They cannot kill women unless they're a threat, or children, because it's dishonorable. And if they're dishonored, then they can't be with their tribe, and they have to be on their own, blah, blah, blah. So when he's about to kill Leona, he can hear the fetal heartbeat. And when he sees that she's pregnant, he doesn't kill her, because then he'll also be killing that life that cannot defend itself. So he does the honorable thing and lets her go, which makes you respect the creature that much more. Almost makes you root for the creature. I mean, it's a really cool aspect for that creature or that species and their lore.
When Harrigan is told that everyone on the train is killed, he realizes it's because they were all armed. Harrigan goes and looks for Jerry as he sees the Predator rip the skull out of Jerry's body. Harrigan pursues the Predator until being stopped by the OWLF. Meanwhile, the Predator boasts his victory.
2 facts about the scene when the Predator's on top of the building boasting his victory. Originally, in the original script, how I said this was supposed to take place in New York, that was supposed to be on the Sears Tower. That's not that big of a deal. But after it got switched to LA, originally that was way earlier in the movie. After the Predator kills Danny, he's supposed to climb up the tower and boast his victory. But then the director thought that wouldn't make any sense. Such an easy kill. Why would he boast his victory on that? Wouldn't he boast his victory after destroying everybody on the train and just being a total badass? Which fits a lot better. What do you think?
Meanwhile, Special Agent Keyes informs Harrigan about the situation and tells him about the events that took place in 1987 in Central America. He talks about the creature's advanced weaponry and tells him about different events of when a predator has been here. Harrigan finds out that Special Agent Keyes' intentions are on capturing the creature to study its technology, not killing him.
Okay, so here's a lot of facts, so bear with me. So in the original script, after Keyes says that they're drawn to conflict and heat, you see the picture of Anna on the screen. Well, originally he used to point to the screen and show the interview with Anna, and Anna explains everything that happened and gives details and blah, blah, blah. And then he explains that him and his team took Dutch and went back to Central America of where the events of Predator 1 took place. And while they were there investigating and searching for the spaceship and for alien evidence, Dutch disappears, which would have been nice to hear in the actual movie, because then you're like, okay, well, that's what happened to Dutch, because he's not mentioned any other time. Also, when he mentions that the weaponry destroys 300 city blocks. In the novelization or the actual script, he says it destroyed 200 acres of rainforest. I mean, that just sounds more believable, honestly. But anyways, besides that, the last thing I'm going to say is that in the original or the novelization, the actual script, before they changed it, only Keyes' plan was to capture. The OWLF, the team, didn't care about capturing it alive. They wanted to kill it because they did not want this creature to set off a bomb in Los Angeles that would destroy 300 city blocks. So that's the little thing about it there. I think they should have included all of that with Anna and Dutch. They should have included all of it, but I guess they were just pressed for time.
Agent Keyes and his team enter the slaughterhouse in full confidence, but they sadly underestimated the predator, for it sees them. Harrigan realizes that their plan is foiled, that the predator sees them and he's about to strike. He leaves to go and help.
Okay, so a lot of people had an issue with this too. They're like, oh, the predator couldn't see, so we switched filters. Why didn't the predator in the first one do that? Well, gee, fuck, I don't know. Maybe the fact that it's the first fucking movie and there was no lore built on it yet? I mean, come on. Not only that, but later on in Predators, the movie Predators, Lawrence Fishburne's character tells them that, like, every time they hunt, they change their weaponry and their gear. So perhaps, since this takes place 10 years later, they advance their freaking technology. I mean, come on. But
Harrigan rushes to prepare himself to help the team out and defeat the predator. Keyes' team cannot find the predator. The predator knows where they are. With Keyes' team dead and him left standing, the predator stalks Keyes. Locked and loaded, Harrigan rushes to help and blows down the door.
So a little fact about the dope-ass looking spear. It's actually called a combi stick in Predator lore, but whatever. So it actually is two different spears that you see. When the predator has his hands up and it retracts once, that's a take. And then when he puts it down, they stop and then replace it with the shorter version and then it retracts back in again. Yeah, it sounds kind of lame, but that's just how it could have been done at that time, I guess. And also, once they were done filming, the combi stick went missing. They assumed that one of the crew stole it. I mean, if I worked on that set, I'd steal that shit too. Fuck yeah.
Harrigan calls out the predator, attacking wildly and damaging his plasma caster. But the predator has many weapons at his disposal. The predator attacks Harrigan, nearly missing him. Harrigan makes a run for it, pulls out his shotgun, and surprises the predator.
Okay, so in the original script, all that stuff didn't happen. The original script, before it got revised to make it cooler, Harrigan just blew down the door, ran in, and shot the predator down. That's it. But, I mean, that'd be kind of fucking lame. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's why they changed it, because they're like, that seems too easy. But, yeah, so they changed it. I like this a lot better. I think I'd be disappointed with the other one.
Harrigan approaches the predator to take off the mask of Danny's killer. Confident that he is dead, he goes to taunt him. But surprise, he was playing dead. As the predator approaches Harrigan, Keyes drops down in surprise.
Okay, so if you notice now, the predator's mask is off. But when he looks at Harrigan and Keyes, they're in infrared. And in the first movie, when the predator lost his mask or took it off, he saw in all red. Everything was lit up. So when asked that in the special features, they mentioned that they goofed when editing the film. They forgot to change that, which, I mean, I guess if they were pressed for time, that makes sense. But dude, like, that's a kind of a, I mean, it's not a really itty bitty tiny detail. It's like, it's a detail and you missed it. And that's another reason why a lot of people were like, dude, what the fuck? But still, oh well, fuck it.
Badly injured and no match for Keyes, the predator uses an alternate weapon to take care of him, the smart disc. With Keyes dead, Harrigan makes a run for it to the roof. Little does he know, the predator is hot on his tail. Harrigan sees an opportunity to finish the Predator, but fucks it up.
Okay, so a few facts. In the original script, this whole movie was supposed to be gory as hell. Like, it was supposed to show a lot. But when the script was finished and it was shown to the executives, they were going to give it an NC-17 rating, which would have been bad. So they took a whole bunch of stuff out. One of the things included was that the smart disc was supposed to decapitate Keys, and it was supposed to show it. But all you see is it slice him in half, and you don't even see the top half fall down. Like, what happened to the top half, right? Also, on top of the building, you see the Predator having a breather. And you're probably wondering why that is. Because when the Predator in the first one lost his mask, he didn't use a breather, but he didn't have it off for that long. That, and he wasn't super badly injured. But the Predator homeworld is rich in nitrogen. And so that's what he does. It's like he's getting like a little bit, trying to catch his breath using the breather. Another thing is that part when Harrigan grabs the spear and then charges at the Predator and completely misses, that's another reason why people had a problem with this film. Like, they might as well just had it that he went and pushed him off the cliff or pushed him off the edge of the roof. That would have made a lot more sense. Because this is just, I admit, that is pretty dumb. Like, how do you miss? Right?
Hanging off the ledge and out of options, the Predator activates his self-destruct, but Harrigan grabs the Predator's smart disc and cuts his arm in half. Harrigan follows the Predator through the apartment complex to an elevator shaft. At the bottom, he enters the Predator's ship to confront him for the final time.
Alright, so if you've seen the movie, you know how it ends. If you haven't seen the movie, you could probably guess how it ends. Maybe. But, what about that last scene with the xenomorph skull? I remember when I was a kid, I was like, that's an alien skull. What? And I had no idea about AVP comics or books. I didn't go to the freaking library or go to a comic book store. I went to Blockbuster and video game stores. I played video games, watched movies, and I went the fuck outside. I didn't read shit, dude. No, the only comics I ever got was comics that people gave me. I didn't go buy comics. I didn't ask for comics. Fuck that shit. That's back when Pokemon cards were big and all that other... No, fuck that shit. Anyways, also, if those comics came out in the 1988, 89, I was a freaking baby. By the time I saw Predator 2, I was like 5 years old. So whatever. Anywho, so if you've seen the movie, please drop in the comments what you like about it, what you don't like about it, and your favorite scene. If you haven't seen the movie, please go and watch it. Come back to this video, tell me what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, and your favorite scene. Now, Predator 2 had a higher budget, a lot more time to film than the first one, and I think they just did a great job. I love how they incorporated some of the comics, and it would have been great though if the original script, if they would have stuck with everything that they wanted to do. I don't give a crap about NC-17 rating, even though it probably would have affected people seeing it, because they wouldn't want to bring their kids, so that's less tickets. But anyways, all in all, the plot was decent, pretty decent. Who else is going to fight the Predator besides the cop of the city? And it's pretty much the same plot, like all of his buddies die in his final battle, but he's just a cop, so it was pretty much all luck, you know what I mean? But I would give this movie, with the plot and just the entertainment factor, because the action is fantastic, I'd probably give this, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Mainly because it's just, it lives up to the lore of the Predator. So, and the comics and the novels, it includes a lot more that people at that time, that if they didn't see it, which I didn't read any of that, but if they didn't know anything about it, which I do now, wouldn't appreciate it as much. I appreciate it a lot more than I did when I was a kid, because, I appreciate it when I was a kid, but I appreciate it even more because I know stuff about it. But I'm giving it the 8 because it's for you guys. Me personally, I'd give it like a 9.5 out of 10, right below Predator. But, for you guys, especially if you haven't seen it, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. So, anyways, if you liked this video and you stuck with me, please give the video a like, share amongst your friends, and if you haven't, please subscribe. I could use the support, and I'd really appreciate it. Next, I'm going to be doing Predators. I don't think chronologically that's the next film. I'm pretty sure The Predator is the next chronological film. I don't know, but that's the next one that was released in theaters. So I'm doing Predators, and I really like that one too. I love all Predator fucking movies, whatever. But until next time, see you then.